Manifestation, creation, or what some of us just call life, is a result of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Our thoughts, a lot of us understand, right? It's just the mindset, it's what our goals are, it's the direction that we're heading. The feelings is the faith, the trust that we have as ourself in that future reality. And then the action is the systems that you partake in to get there. And so I'll talk a little bit more about feelings and thoughts, but I want to start with actions. When we set goals, right, a lot of us, especially in the conscious spiritual community, are well aware that we are creators, and there is an ability to manifest immediately manifest and create things with your will, with practice, with awareness of that power that is possible. If you do not have that power and you're wondering how to get it, then you are going to have to take the steps necessary. You want to make sure that your thoughts, your feelings, and actions are in alignment with yourself, and it is within that alignment that we create at will immediately. So if you've been heading down one path and you want to manifest something over here, it is going to be maybe a little bit of a learning curve or a little bit of a time delay before you pull that reality into your space. Usually when we talk about intention, right? So imagine traveling through realities and not necessarily in one reality traveling through time, but you're traveling through realities, all existing now, right? So time just being a perspective of traveling through many different realities. So there's infinite realities, right? Where you are all different types of you, and reality is all different types of reality. Also, am I done with this? Renew Hair, Skin, and Nails. This is what I do for my hair every single day. I'm making my superfood capsules, which is basically my food for the next few days. Now on to some anabolic amino acids. So, traveling through realities, how to do it. Okay, so we're traveling through realities, there's infinite realities. When we put tension into a reality, that's where that word intention comes from, right? You're traveling through realities and you put tension in one of them. You're intending on that reality, that version where you exist in. And then as long as you can align your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and you stack that into that tension, you will be pulled bidirectionally, so both directions pulled into that reality. And so when we think of creation, when we think of manifestation, when we just think of our life, we want to understand that dynamic. Now, what do the actions means, right? Because a lot of us know how to set goals. And just so we're all clear, setting goals isn't everything, right? If you look at a game, like a sport, both the winner and the loser have the same goal, right? So setting a goal isn't what makes you achieve success, right? So a lot of people think that it's just like, how big is your vision? How great do you want to be? And that is true to a degree, because there is a limit, right? It's very rare that you're going to achieve a goal that's bigger than what you imagined is possible. It's going to be rare that that's going to happen. It will happen sometimes. But so it's not just simply about intending, about having a vision. We do want to make sure that we are implementing the actions necessary. Now, actions are basically come down to systems, right? So if the goal is to read a book, just simply intending on reading a book is going to be not very effective, right? You're going to have to actually read a book. And the goal is to be a reader, right? The goal isn't to finish. If the goal is to finish a book, the easiest way to finish a book is to be a reader of books, right? If the goal is to do a 5K run, then the easiest, simplest, fastest, most convenient way to achieve that goal is to be a runner. Right? Be somebody who runs, and that goal will achieve itself. Right? Even if it's marathon or 100 miles. So once you become a runner and finish your 5K, then you can intend, envision, and goal set bigger goals. The system stays the same. You just strengthen the fact that you're a runner. I'm a runner. I get up. I run. I go to sleep. I'm thinking about running. These goals, you will be able to achieve bigger and greater and more variable goals through the fact that you are taking action, that you are within the construct, the reality of being a runner. It's the same thing with any of our goals. If you want to be champion at sports, I just went over that. You want to be an artist and you have a goal to like make some masterpiece that gets a lot of attention or it sells in a particular manner, then be an artist, right? It's not about the finish, it's about the being state of an artist. Now, so we've got a bunch of different components that make up this reality. We've got the physical nature of reality, which is what a lot of us, there are people that just pay attention to action, right? They're just paying attention to action, which is what they're just paying attention to hustling. Hustle, 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 be. But if your brain that transmits the thoughts through our body and out of our body, and also the hormones that is going to produce things like motivation for us to do particular action, and our heart, which produces the feelings, the trust that emanates through our body. It's all these massive feedback loops that go through our body that produces action, produces you to be motivated to do certain things, produces you to think certain ways, and it also extends out of our body. Our thoughts and our feelings being in alignment with our actions is where we become most powerful. If I think of something and I am that something in my actions and I feel that something, it's going to be very probable that that something is existing permanently. It's just existing. So manifestation isn't anything magical. It's just simply being aligned with yourself. If you think of anything that you would want to manifest, what do people want to manifest? I'll just think of my DMs. People want to manifest a healing center. There's like literally almost 1 out of 5 messages that I get from people is that, or wisdom of self, right? Or I don't think that was a comment on that, but everyone wants to manifest a healing center. Where does that come from? I'm pretty sure there's people that have healing centers. If we work backwards of how they achieve the healing center, actually that's something I recommend to everyone, is whatever you want, talk to somebody who has it, and you will see that it was nothing special. And you will see that they also probably took way longer to manifest it than you have in your timeline. A lot of us think that we can achieve things. We overestimate our short-term ability to manifest things. And so then when it doesn't come, there's this frustration that builds that starts to eat away our feelings and our thoughts, which then decreases the motivation that we have to continue acting, which then puts us out of the game, right? So just for my own example, I own gyms, and it was my goal to own gyms. I wanted to create this, and so 20 years ago, I'm sitting in Michigan. Was it 20 years ago? So 20 years ago, I'm 19. So let's say like 17 years ago. 17 years ago, I'm sitting in, no, it was about 20 years ago. And I said, like, I want to own my own gyms. And I don't want to do this in Michigan because nobody cares about fitness in Michigan. I want to go to where people care about exercise. People care about working out. I want to go to California. I had no money. I had no education. Well, I did kind of have an education, but I had no, not that college teaches you anything. But basically, you gotta like get whatever your path is, you have to change, right? So I moved to California with 5 pieces of luggage. I came here. I was broke as a joke, as they say. I was living on like literally people's couches for like 6 months. And I just knew that I'm in the place where I could have a gym where people would care about fitness. And that was one part of the equation, was I had to get into the environment, into the location on earth where people care about fitness, because I wanted a gym in an area where people cared about fitness. So once I got to California and I was living on people's couches, then I could start thinking, okay, that part of the equation is set. What's next? I went to a gym and I was like, hey, how can I train here? I didn't want to do it as an employee. I went to a gym where you actually pay the gym and you can train your own clients. They're like, you need a personal training certificate. So I went through that process. Even though I had a degree in exercise science, they still needed me to have a personal training certificate and insurance. And then I needed to eat. So I was like trying to be like a model at the same time to try and pay some bills. And I ended up taking some side jobs, helping this artist paint. And then I discovered Craigslist. I didn't know what Craigslist was, and I started posting on Craigslist I couldn't train somebody because I didn't have the gym. I didn't have anywhere to train someone, so I was like, I can go stretch people out. So I went to Borders Books. I've never stretched anybody out in my life, but I was in the place where I needed to be. I needed to stay here, right? My goal was to open a gym in now California, and I need to stay in California. So I need to make money. So I go to Borders Books and I buy like partner stretching books. And I had a Trio phone. It was like before iPhones even existed. And I took pictures of every single page of a partner stretch. And then I went on Craigslist and I made an ad. And I was like, I will come stretch you out at any time. How old am I? I'm 39. And so I'm in Borders, I'm taking pictures, and still in Borders, I make a post on Craigslist, which I just found out about. And I'm like, how much do I charge these people to come stretch them out? I'm from Michigan and I'm used to getting paid $13 an hour. So I'm like, $45, right? Because an hour to drive there, an hour to drive back, and I'm on my motorcycle. By the way, I didn't mention that. I moved here with a motorcycle. And so I'm like, I'm going to charge these people $45 because that was what I was used to. My construct of like what was possible was $15 an hour. And people started hiring me to come over and like stretch them out. And I knew nothing about the body. I just took some pictures in a book. I memorized them and I went and like lifted people's legs up and stuff. And then I was like, okay, the next week I was like, all right, I'm going to make a post that says $55 an hour. And people were paying me $55 an hour. And then I made a post for $65 an hour. And people were paying me $65 an hour. And that's when I started to realize, as I started meeting people in California, that in California, people don't work. They don't trade their time for money. So my entire construct of like how you achieve money started shifting as I was like, $75 an hour for some kid who doesn't know anything about stretching will come stretch you out. And people were hiring me for $75 an hour. And I started to realize, like, this is me at 20, like early 20s. And I'm literally like getting my mind unraveled about how money works. To me, this is common knowledge and probably to a lot of you too right now. But back then, before the internet, and I was in some other mind space just getting out of college where they teach you how to be an employee. So people started hiring me to come stretch them for $75 an hour. And so I had some clients doing that. And then I got my personal training certificate. I transitioned people from me stretching them to me training them, which was what I actually wanted to do. Oh, and I want to just add one more thing about this, which you guys isn't that being greedy? No, it's not. The more money you make, that's a representation of the value that you're bringing to people. It's like a scoreboard. The more money that people are paying you, you are giving them more value for it, right? Nobody really pays for something unless they want value out of it. So stealing money from people, just taking money and not giving anything in return, could be considered greedy, but even that I think is like kind of impossible. Unless you're lying and cheating, which still there's a trade-off, right? There's still a trade-off. Even if you get scammed, you were intending on getting something really, really, really flashy for, probably way under what you should have been paying. So there was a mirror intention from the scammer and the scammy, right? A scammer needs people that want to take, they want to skip steps. That's usually who the scammers target. The people that want to skip steps, right? Look what's going on Instagram right now. Give me your Cash App link and I'll send you money. The scammers are scamming so many people that just want free money. So then the question is like, who's actually intending on being scammed? Like both of them have the same intention. The scammer and the scammy are both in the same, they're creating the situation. All right, so back to how I started my entire life here in California. So when I started on Craigslist, I was trying to advertise in the personal training section. I forget what it was called, health and wellness, I think. And I realized that like, dude, no one's hiring me. It was personal training. Yeah, nobody wants to hire me. So I started posting on Craigslist 17, 18 years ago in the dating section because that's where people were looking. And so this is just an example of being resourceful, right? I started posting in the dating section. Men for women, women for men. I don't even know if this section even exists anymore on Craigslist. Men for men, women for women, literally every single one. I just posted in there, get personal trained by me in West Hollywood at this gym. Anybody that was close, that was where my original clients came from. Okay, so my original clients came from the dating section of Craigslist. And was there a bit of shame, imposter syndrome, weirdness associated with advertising there? Yes, of course. There was. But when I start thinking about like my goal is to own a gym here in Los Angeles, the biggest like health mecca of the world, I know nothing. There's not people knocking on my door asking for me to train them. I'm not a part of a gym where I'm positioned. I need to go where the people's eyes are that want to be attractive. And where people want to be attractive is in the dating section of reality. And so that's where I went. And that's where I said, hey, I'll make you even more attractive for whatever you want to be attractive for. And that was my intention, to serve people, to help people out. They have a goal, they have a problem, they want dates, and the problem is that there's many other people in the field and they want to stand out. And so I just offered myself as a solution to that problem, and I positioned myself there. And I literally built my dream off of figuring out like this weird way to handle people's problems. And is there anything else left in this story? The point is that it's sometimes if you're trying to get from point A to point B, and point B is way far away from point A like it was for me. All right, living in Michigan, not knowing anything, moving to California where it's a different world, and owning a gym. That was my point A to point B. And that took about 2 years for me opening up a 10,000 square foot gym. That was like my dream gym. It had everything that I imagined, but it was basically just a old hotel lobby that had been used for raves for 12 years. So I had to scrub the floors for a couple weeks. I had to clean it up. I had to work a deal with the owner that I'm going to make this place reasonably better than it is right now, and I'm going to have a gym here. And he went for it. So the point is that don't stop on your dreams because you don't achieve it immediately, especially if it's something way different than where you're at right now, because it could take you being resourceful, it could take you doing the equivalent of what I did with advertising in the dating section. It could take you some time to be creative, become somebody who you're maybe not even comfortable with being, right? That wasn't comfortable for me to advertise there, to put my picture, my face there. Then, you know what happens when you put your picture in the dating section on Craigslist? A bunch of other dudes use your pictures to try and get free blowjobs for themselves. So then I'm advertising there, and then I also have to see my pictures then being reused for people I don't even know, pretending to be me. And then I have a choice of like, do I keep on doing this or not? I just remembered that actually right now. That I had, and then like rumors go around that I'm actually the people pretending to use my pictures, and there's no rules in this life. That's something I always have to constantly remind myself, is that there's no rules. And so if I'm feeling ashamed about something, like you just got to connect back into like, what are you doing? Is the direction you're on the direction you want to be going? And as long as the answer is yes, then keep doing it. All right, I gotta go, y'all.